welcome New York Times best-selling author Scott Harrison.
Well, this one organization writes me and says, if I was willing to go live in the poorest country in the world, post-war Liberia, West Africa, and if I was willing to pay them $500 a month, then they would take me. So I said, this is perfect. I mean, this is the opposite of my life. And I dusted off a degree I'd gotten in journalism at New York University and said, hey, maybe I can come and tell stories that would help you raise awareness and money and take photos. I'd always been a pretty good photographer. So at 28 years old, my life changes radically, and I go into Liberia backed by 14,000 United Nations peacekeepers. Now, at the time, this was the largest force deployed in the history of the world by the UN to pick up the pieces after Charles Taylor had left the country. I was volunteering on a hospital ship, a 522-foot ocean liner that had been gutted and turned into a floating hospital with a very simple idea. Let's bring the best doctors in the world on their vacation time to people who can't afford access to medical care. And I was going to document everything that happened. When women get clean water, a third report less harassment. 90% of women use the time saved to earn money to put their kids through school. 33% of women become more active in the community. Half the women join income-generating community groups, and 88% of the women said their families were healthier. One of my favorite things about this issue is that everybody thinks this is a good idea. So whether you're in our country a Republican or a Democrat or an independent, whether you're on the left or the right, whether you're a person of Jewish faith or Christian faith or no faith, everybody can stand for clean water. It's also binary. Water's cleaner, it's not. It's just not subjective. And you know that if you take a child from drinking water that could kill her every day to providing clean water for her, that you've done an inarguable good. You have inarguably changed and transformed her life for good. I had a very clear vision of what I wanted to do, bring clean water to everyone on earth. Now, I had the advantage of having no philanthropic experience, and I was just talking to everyday people who worked at Sephora, or at a bank, or at the time at MTV. And I realized this was not going to be easy because most people don't trust charities. In America, 42% of people responded that they didn't trust charities when asked. More recently, a study came out that found 70% of people believe charities wasted their money. You're going to hear Dan Pallotta, who's a good friend, talk about this in the speaker series. So I thought maybe we could do something even bigger than the mission. Maybe we could try to reinvent or reimagine charity. Anne-Marie was talking about tzedakah. Charity, if you look up, the word goes all the way back to the Latin, and it means love, caritas, to look after your neighbor in need and get nothing in return. I thought we need more people moving towards charity, not cynical and skeptical and making excuses. So I had a couple big ideas of how we would reach out to the cynic and the skeptical. The first was we had to solve the problem of how money flowed. So I thought, what if I could make a promise that 100% of every donation ever given to the organization would go directly to build water projects that help people get clean water? To pay for the overhead, I opened up a completely separate bank account and said, somehow I'm going to find a group of philanthropists and visionaries and maybe business leaders who don't mind paying the office rent and the Epson toner costs and the staff salaries and the flights, so that everybody who gives around the world would know that 100% of their money goes directly to the projects. And we would audit these two separate bank accounts and make all that public in the website. We had enough money to do one well and to fix a couple broken ones. And then we sent the photos and the GPS coordinates and video of clean water flowing back to the 700 people. And we said, you came, you gave $20, here's where the money went. It actually mattered. And people were so blown away that a charity would bother to tell them where a small amount of money went. And we knew we were really onto something if we could bake this in to the business model of the organization. This is a quote that someone sent me from a bodega in New York City 15 years ago. And he just sent me this picture. And it has stuck with me. And it has really been this animating, driving idea for my work and my life. And the quote actually comes from an ancient rabbinic text. And it says, "Do not be afraid of work that has no end." I love this idea. Because if your work is asking how you can use your time and your talent and your money to serve others, there's no end. There's no finish line. There's this idea sometimes, it's trendy for a charity to put themselves out of business. If we see a day when everybody has access to clean water, we're not going to go drop the mic and go work at a bank and try and go become millionaires. No offense if anybody's a banker. We would take everything we've learned, the community of tens of millions of people, and say, what could we do next? Should we make sure nobody's hungry? Should we make sure everyone has access to health care or a roof over their head? So if you're looking around you in your local community, in the global community, you're asking how you can use what you have been blessed with to end needless suffering, that's a never-ending journey. And that idea used to scare me, and now I love it. I've embraced it.
Now, please help me welcome back on stage Anne-Marie Boucher and Scott Harrison for our fireside chat and Q&A. What is it that they should think about when it comes to executing a philanthropic goal the way you did?
I'm not going to say focus, because some of the philanthropists that I've been the most impressed with are working with a lot of different organizations. I think it's being radically generous. I'll tell one story. There are a couple people that have come into my life or the organization's life that gave more than maybe we thought we deserved.
How do you balance a cause that you're really passionate about and that you roll up your sleeves and get really involved with the needs of the community, with basic needs?
So, about 15 years ago, when my husband and I were lucky enough to have success come our way, we sat down and made the decision to have philanthropy be a meaningful part of our life. So that was step one decision. Step two, of course, was to go to the JCF and consolidate our philanthropy into this platform, very smart philanthropy, very easy. But the third part was to establish a plan, give it some thought and the discovery process. A community is just as strong as its weakest link. And if you do not take care of those weak links, which is essentially poverty, you put at risk that platform or that safety net that everybody benefits from. With poverty, there's no education, there's no health, there's no culture, there's no economic thriving.
What's the key to success in fundraising for all the charities that are here?
I hated asking for money. It took many, many years to get comfortable. I think we just told stories. So we just churned out story after story after story. We would do campaigns, and so much of our early fundraising really was grassroots.
La philanthropie détient le pouvoir de transformer des communautés entières et d'améliorer de façon significative la vie de millions de personnes. Un simple geste de bonté peut avoir des répercussions considérables sur la vie des gens. La Fondation communautaire juive de Montréal est fière d'inaugurer le Centre d'apprentissage philanthropique. A groundbreaking initiative that brings together professionals, donors, and charities to create a better future for generations to come. We're excited to have you embark on this journey to change the world through philanthropy. Over the next 12 months, we will invite you to highly curated events designed to inspire and give you the tools to reach your personal and organizational goals. Philanthropy is about coming together, making a difference, and shaping the world we live in. When you join the Center for Philanthropic Learning, you'll be part of a movement of people who share and care. That's smart philanthropy.